It was easy to assume that the LEDs on both sides of the volume knob are for power. They're not, but they should be. The colors are to indicate the audio format and are relatively specific or vague depending on how color accurate your eyes are. Seriously, the colors are cyan and blue, red and magenta, but thankfully there's yellow and green because you're not colorblind at all, right? Connection options include both a 3.5mm and a 4.4 Pentacon connector. For the most part, you won't need to connect to an amp externally. The 4.4mm Pentacon output is a fully balanced circuit, powering hard-to-drive headphones. If you don't think it pushes the driver quite enough, there's the power match button to add some gain to push a lot more power into the headphones. On the other hand, going the other way, there's a switch for iematch, meant for sensitive IEMs. Unfortunately, since it is a switch, you'll only be able to use iematch on one of the outputs. When listening terribly closely in some silent portions of tracks, I noticed very subtle noise when using some IEMs, with iematch enabled. That said, the noise is not as noticeable compared to most motherboard or streamer DACs that I have used. In terms of sound quality, there's not a lot of coloration, which is a good thing. What you're putting in is what you're getting out. Whether I was plugged into power or not, the sound of the Hip Dac 3 is clean and detailed, with no noticeable distortion, and doesn't feel compressed. For the bass heads, there's the X-bass button, adding a lot of that bass rumble without feeling unnatural. Most other bass boost implementations I've heard tend to feel like someone's trying to bang your head against a wall, but that's not the case here. Using it on a desktop, the placement of the connections is great for a clean desktop setup, with the ports on one side and the controls and output on the other. The configuration keeps the cable clutter on the back of the unit when connected to the desktop. I was able to connect to all of my devices, an Android phone, and both macOS and Windows for desktop. The iFi Hip Dac 3 decodes hi-res PCM and DXD audio, including MQA for high bitrate audio files, without noticeable latency if you're using it for something like gaming or video consumption. While you can disconnect it from your desktop setup and bring it out, despite being portable, the iFi Hip Dac 3, when used with a smartphone, is a pain. The provided cable is thankfully short, but it is too stiff for the unit to lie perfectly flat underneath. Maybe put a MagSafe attachment on it or something? Pocketing it, on the other hand, I constantly thought it would scratch my phone's camera lens. The included rubber feet doesn't help. I didn't install that for that reason. Another issue I have with it moving around is that the volume knob can be turned accidentally. Holding it with my phone in hand, just like one would with a battery bank, was annoying, but I got used to it. Honestly, I wish it could double as a battery bank. That could have been a nice feature. With the ability to power even hard-to-drive headphones or use sensitive IEMs without a high noise floor, the iFi Hip Dac 3 is a decent upgrade if you have a lot of noise in your current setup, with the ability to rock out to a more colorful audio experience when enabling XBass. If you're looking specifically for a portable mobile DAC, the Apple dongle is far superior in portability, while doing more than good enough. I would recommend the iFi Hip Dac 3 for those who need clean audio and a lot of power, but also want easy portability.